So welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Jonelle Tate, and I'm the owner of Smart Solutions Consulting. And I work with a program that's called YB12. And basically, the program helps you to have the best year of your life. So how many people want to have the best year of their life?
Me.
Okay. So tell me, what are some things that you feel would help you to have the best year of your life? Like, one thing I think about is family. I want to make sure that I have a really good family life. So what are some of the things that you think of that come to mind that could allow you to have the best year of your life?
Family is really important, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to have some success at my job. I'd like to be able to know that I'm doing well at my job and hitting my goals and making my targets.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have success. We in the employment.
Mm-hmm.
We have family. So what are some things that you could add?
Just like some financial freedom, knowing
Mhm.
that what I'm working 40 hours a week is giving me the time and my off hours that I can do what I want and when I want.
So what's that one thing you think of when you are like, oh man, I just can't wait to, buy this or spend my money on that, and it's gonna make me so happy when that time comes. What's something that comes to mind for you with that?
Well, Christmas is right around the corner, so
Mhm.
that's a big one. But I'm also taking a vacation, so I want to make sure that I can, do what I want when I'm down in Florida. And
There you go. So you can see there's a lot of different things and everyone's different with what, constitutes having the best year of their life. So, some people may say it's something spiritual. They want to become more spiritual. So there are a lot of different things that can lead to it. But what you're going to find out today is that we have to stop doing this one thing in order for those things to actually come true. So it's about beating procrastination. It's about setting yourself up so you have the goals in alignment that are going to get you to where you need to be. Okay? So, I love quotes, and I like to live by my quotes, and I hope that the quotes that I give to you today are also ones that you can, incorporate into your life and into your goal setting program that you're going to be using for yourself. So, to accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream, not only plan, but also believe. So what do you think that means when you read through that quote?
we have to not only be able to see our goals, but then we have to have our list prepared so that we can start moving towards those goals. And as long as we believe that we can do it, we can get to the final product.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's not about just keeping everything up in your mind and you're just dreaming about it and everything. It's also about how do I get there? How do I sit up here and lay out a comprehensive plan and a plan that I'm going to follow? You don't want a plan that's just so far out here and then you never look at it again and you just toss it in a drawer somewhere and then that's it. So you want to make sure it's something that you believe in and that you believe you can follow. So a lot of times we get so excited about a goal that we're wanting to achieve. We even give ourselves a deadline. How many people think about, the beginning of the year and you have your New Year's resolutions. Oh yeah, by the beginning of the year, I'm going to start doing this and it's going to, make me happy or like losing weight or whatever. And then the new year comes and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I got so much going on right now. I can't do it. I got to start this, in another month or whatever. We've all been there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's what's considered a failure cycle. So as you can see, you get so excited, you're all hyped up, you're telling everybody about what you want to do and everything. And then all of a sudden, when that time comes, when you got to start it, and you're like, oh, forget it. I got kids that are involved in all kinds of things. My work is going crazy. And, I don't have time to even go out and have fun for myself. I'm going to push that off for a minute there. And then you start coming up with excuses. And then you're just like, okay, I can't do that because of this. Well, is that true? Are those things really avoiding making you avoid what you have to do in order to achieve that goal. And you start bringing other people into it. My kids are making things so crazy for me because they're involved in so many different things. So I can't even think about what I need to do. And then it goes in a vicious cycle over and over and over again to the point where you're like, you never get to that goal. So we have to stay in this part here and keep that excitement going and get rid of all of this to where this is the only thing that we focus on to get us to the goal. So it starts with taking responsibility. Okay? You're the only one who could be responsible for your goal. No one else can do that for you. And stop choosing goals that are wrong for you. How many times you thought of a goal that was just so crazy? Like, I used to always think of one when I was younger where it was like, okay, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to have a Porsche and I'm going to be doing this, that, and this. But I had absolutely no plan on getting there. I had no idea how I was going to get there. So it's like, let's start with something small. Maybe I can get this little car here that's going to help build me to getting that big goal of wanting that Porsche there. So stop choosing goals that are wrong for you. And when you achieve a goal, you achieve power. How powerful is it when you go through different little steps to get to your goal, no matter how big or how small, and then you're like, wow, I did it. It's like a sense of accomplishment. So when you have that sense of accomplishment, that gives you power. And it also helps you to realize, I can get to that big, huge goal. So we're going to talk a little bit more very soon in regards to how you outline those little goals to get to the larger goal there. Yay, we got quotes again there. This time, Ken, I'm going to have you read this one here.
Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising every time we fail.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask, what does that mean to you?
Pick yourself up. Kick yourself up.
That's right.
Every time you hear with that little expression, every time you hear a no, to get you that much closer to a yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that.
That's right. I mean, how are you even going to know if it's going to work if you don't allow yourself to be open to those failures and learn from them? You're never going to know if you're actually going to reach that goal if you allow yourself to be put in that situation and then making sure that you're learning every time that you go through one of those failing times there. So, who absolutely never procrastinates? Anytime they think of something that they want to do, it gets done, they put their mind to it, they accomplish it every single time. See, no hands up, right? Right. My hand isn't even up. Well, when you think about procrastination, the reason why we do it is because they're the wrong goals. They're goals that aren't even in alignment with what we're wanting to do. There are goals that are just like so far out there that you're like, I'm never going to achieve this. Like it's like somebody saying, hey, I'm going to, set myself up with a goal to go on an African safari. And you know what? I want to do it by this weekend, but I don't have any cash to do it, but I know I'm going to do it. Is that realistic?
No. Failure.
No, exactly. And then when the weekend comes, what happens? You're upset. You're feeling like a failure. And you're feeling like, okay, why did I set myself up like that? I knew that wasn't going to happen. So be realistic about it. And then not having an action plan. We got to write these things down. You have to have something that you need to check off every time you accomplish it. Because if you don't, how do you know you're even moving closer to that goal? How do you know that you're doing everything you need to do to get to that goal? You don't. Because you're relying on everything being up here instead of actually physically seeing, how you're achieving that goal. And then unclear thoughts. Your mind's all over the place. You're thinking about, oh, I can't wait to get to that here, but, okay, you know what? I need to go wash my car right now. And then you're thinking about, oh, but you know what? tomorrow I got to make sure that I do this because it's going to get me close to my goal. Oh, you know what? I wonder what my friends are doing right now. Your mind is like all over the place. You need to have focus. If you're going to achieve a goal, and if there are things that are happening in your life that don't pertain to it, and this goal is very important to you, leave those other things alone. That's why it's very important as you're thinking about different things that are going to pertain to you achieving your goal, make sure you're writing them down. And then you have doubts, fears, negativity. You know, a lot of times, how many times have you thought of something that other people were like, are you nuts? You're never going to do that. Come on, stop it. And then you start thinking like that. You start thinking, God, you know what? Maybe Taylor is right. This is just too far out of the way for me to get to. I'm never going to achieve this here. Stop. You know, as I said earlier, you're the only one who could be responsible for gaining those goals and everything. So you have to leave the naysayers alone. Only keep positive people in your life. Only keep people who are going to be there to support you through that goal setting and through that process there. So think about it. You know, how many times do you really achieve your goals? So as I spoke about earlier, when you have that large goal that seems like it's so far over there and you just keep grabbing for it and you can't reach it, you got to set up these little tiny ones here. Okay, you have to set up a process for yourself. And as I was saying before, check it off. As you're doing all of these different things, you know, it'll help you to see, wow, I only have 2 more to go. And I'm there. And that's also that sense of accomplishment. You get the little accomplishments as you go through. And then when you hit that big one, you know, you're ready to pat yourself on the back. And plus you're ready to turn around and let somebody else pat you on the back. Because, you know, the naysayers that you had to deal with before and everything, you want them to see, hey, you know, I did do this. Now, guess what? I did it. Now you can do it. So you don't have to be negative anymore about this. So, quote time. I never notice what has to be done. I only see what remains to be done. So that's a part of that little checklist. You're only looking at what's left. You know, if you don't have a checklist to look at, God only knows what you have left. And then it's like, okay, I think I need to do that. Or wait, did I do that last week? And then you're confusing yourself and then you're back at square one because you have all these unclear thoughts going on and you need to clear your mind. So just making sure that, okay, I got 1 more to go and then I'm hitting that goal. That's going to make you so much more focused than trying to figure it out in your mind with what still needs to be done. So, here's a little quiz for everybody here. How many thoughts per day do you think the average human being has? Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put it out there because I thought it was 1 million, so I'm way off track there, so don't anybody yell out 1 million, okay? So how many thoughts do you think? Take a wild guess.
Between 10 and 20,000.
Okay. Anybody else want to?
500,000.
500,000. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can kind of go in between those numbers there to see if we can come out with it there. 40 to 60,000 per day. It's a lot of thinking, right? Yeah, I mean, think about all of those things that are just kind of running around in your head, whether it has to do with work or personal. How do you organize all of that? You know, how do you pull out those thoughts that are going to lead you to those goals? And how you do it, as I mentioned before, is write them down. Anytime you come up with that good idea, write it down. You know, I'm Sticky Queen. I have sticky notes everywhere. I have notepads everywhere in my house, on my desk, by my bed, down in the kitchen, down in the den. And anytime I'm thinking of things, I write it down. And I always, started off with my to-do list. And I put the date. And so that tells me, okay, today, these are things that I need to make sure that I get done because they're going to lead me to my big goal. So I got to make sure I'm getting it done. So it's kind of like the mini checklist for the other checklist. Checking it off as you're doing it. So when the next day comes, you have that one more accomplishment, that you can kind of scratch off the list there. But don't be afraid to jot things down, even if they seem a little far-fetched or crazy or whatever. Write it down, because as you're crossing through those different thoughts, you're going to come out with those ones that are going to get you to where you need to be. You have the power to choose the right ones. No one else does. They're not in your mind or anything. They're all in your mind. You know what you need to do to accomplish your goal, so pull those positive thoughts out of your mind, okay? They have power, because what are they going to do? They're going to get you to
your goal.
Exactly. So any thoughts that are going to get you to your goals are very powerful. And what you think you become. When you think about someone who's out there for the Olympics, I might be dating myself a little bit there, but he just like pops in my mind. But the track star, Carl Lewis, okay? He had to train day and night, 7 days a week. He had absolutely no breaks. He had a lot of other adversities against him, outside of the realm of track. But he didn't let those things bother him. He pushed that negativity away to make sure that he always had in his mind, I'm going to be a gold medalist. I'm going to break as many records as I can. Okay? Because he had his goals listed with what he needed to do. He knew every day, guess what? I need to be up at 5 a.m. in the morning. This is what I need to eat for my breakfast. This is how much time I need to spend on, weight training and everything. This is what I need to spend on, just tracking, like the running in general. He had all of that mapped out for him. And as he was doing it, he was checking off too. Believe me, you may not ask him and say, hey, were you actually checking off stuff? No. But he had little itty bitty goals that were going to get him to that large goal. And he held those records for many years. There are still a couple of records that he still holds. So think about it. Anybody who's, in that champion state of mind, they are very focused. They lay out what they have to do. And they see themselves as that gold medalist. They see themselves as that world champion. Because if they didn't, I don't know, maybe they'd be standing here like me, not having any gold records or anything like that. No, but they have to actually make sure that they always are thinking at all times, I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be number one. And they get there. So we do something that's called like a life cycle, okay? We have a past and we have a future. So many of us stay in this past. That's about 90% of us. And what I mean by staying in the past, we always think about those things that hindered us from getting to those goals. We always think about those things where, oh man, it didn't work that time, so it's not going to work this time around here. And you're just stuck on those things that prevented you from doing it. Stop. You got to stop that, because those things aren't going to get you to that future. So how you stop that is you think about what's happening now. You don't go back to any of that. Unless there was something positive in the past that you could say, you know what, I got to use that this time because that worked. Then you can bring that into the now. But if not, if it was something that hindered you, leave it. That's why it's called past for a reason. It's not called past because it's bringing you there, It's called past because it didn't work then. Because if it did, you would have already been there in the future. So we have to think about what's going to work for us right now. Okay? What are those, goals that we can set up for ourselves right now that are going to lead to having a successful future? I'm quoting you to death, aren't I? But you know what? I just hope that there's one that you can pull out of today that you can actually incorporate in your life. I know it sounds a little corny and cheesy and everything, but excuse me, but there's a lot of power in the words that are within quotes. This one, I cannot change yesterday. I can only make the most of today and look with hope towards tomorrow. So remember in the life cycle there. Can't change what happened in the past. Past is the past. Make the most of what you have going on today. Always keep yourself in a positive frame of mind. Yeah, there's crazy things that happen all throughout the day, for all of us. But then it's like, do I have to sit back and actually, think about those bad things? Think about, when the computer kept crashing, or think about, all the work that was just tossed on your desk today or whatever. No, that's not something negative. You figured out how to deal with that, and then you just move on. That it'll pass. It'll pass, and you'll move towards something that's going to be nice and positive for you. But you're the only one who can control that. Nobody else can. Okay? So, there are 3 tools that I always associate with being successful. When you think of, because I want to hear some of your thoughts when you think about some tools that you may use that have brought success to you before. So what do you think are a couple of tools that you've used?
Definitely time management skills.
Mm-hmm.
Is waking up, kind of having a mental to-do list and knowing that I have to follow this today in order to get, X, Y, and Z done before 5 o'clock, or, before I have to leave to go do something else. So I just try to make sure that I can manage my time well and try not to do distracting things
Mm-hmm.
and just focus on my list. But also being a good multitasker helps so that if more than one thing does come up, then I can not freak out and just handle everything that comes onto my plate. So.
Good. Time management and multitasking are very important. Those are very important steps to incorporate in your goal process. How about for you?
Working with other people and trying to find out, trying to make other people successful and use their ideas and that kind of thing. Because sometimes it's not just about you, it's also about people around you. Like you said earlier, you don't want to be stuck with naysayers, so you want to make sure you surround yourself with people. But
Yes.
people make other people successful.
That's right. That's right. When you think about successful people, when you think about somebody like, I don't know, like Bill Gates, do you really think that he's surrounding himself with a bunch of negative people and a bunch of people who were telling him, what is Microsoft? Really? That's a stupid name. What is that going to do for people? Okay, you know what? That's going to be a fad. That's just going to last for about a year. And then you're going to be sitting back here with me trying to figure out what the next thing is that you're going to do. If he would have listened to all of those people who were telling him that he couldn't do it, he wouldn't be the wealthiest person in the world right now. So successful people always surround themselves with other successful people because it breeds. Success breeds, and so does negativity. So you want to make sure that you stay away from it. It's kind of like a cancer. You get that, and it's hard to get out of you, until you get that one successful person to pull you and kind of say, come on, let's go over here. Let's go in the successful group because that's where you belong. You don't belong over there. So sometimes we need that. We need somebody to kind of help pull us along. But you have to have a vision. You have to visualize where you want to be. You have to visualize the steps that it's going to take to get you there. As I was saying before, if you're not sure, if you're not putting yourself in that situation already, if you're not, writing down some of those great thoughts that are going around in your mind and those 60,000 thoughts there, you're not going to really understand where you need to be. So you have to make sure that you have vision and become other people centered. You made a very good point about, being there for others and making sure that their success is, there as well. Because if they're successful because of something that you're doing, that means you're successful as well. okay? Because remember the breeding thing that happens. I always look at, when I was in education and I was a director, and I always, looked at my employees or the people that I was mentoring, and I would be like, okay, you know what? This one here has these excellent qualities. They would be great to go on the path towards a director. This one here has these kind of qualities. And you know what? I think they would be a good career services advisor. You want to be able to look at those different things in people and help pull them along down your road to success. Because as you're pulling them, they're going to pull somebody, and then they're going to pull somebody, and it's just going to be a chain, and you're all going to be surrounding yourself with each other, and that's going to be your circle of success. So it's just very important to always, focus on other people's needs. Focus on what's going to work for them and bring them up and make them successful. So it's very important. Gain mastery over your mind. You have heard me say this so many times already today. What you think, you become. And you're going to continue to hear that. And that's something that you need to say to yourself every day. You always need to think about what it is that you're wanting to do. And as I think about what I need to do to get there, I'm going to get there. So just making sure that you have the mastery over your mind, mastery over all of those thousands of thoughts that come through, and picking out the ones that are going to work for you. Here we go. But I incorporated it into one screen, so I didn't have to bore you with an additional screen there. The entrepreneur is essentially a visualizer and an actualizer. They can visualize something, and when they visualize it, they see exactly how to make it happen. Okay, so all the successful people, think about it, who everybody thought they had these crazy ideas. They kept playing it over and over and over again in their mind. And we're going to talk a little bit about that too, about playing things over and over again in your mind there, and how powerful it can be to guide you towards the right direction, or it can kind of steer you in the wrong direction if you don't change that. But we'll talk about that in a minute there. So preferred reality. When you think of preferred reality, does anyone really know what that means?
Just what you wish your life was, or what you wish the circumstances were, the situation was, instead of where you are right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or it's kind of like, you know what? I can go get that course today. Even though I may only make 20 grand right now, but I'm going to get that course today. That's where I'm going to be. And I'm going to talk to everybody and let them know I'm getting that course this weekend. So really? Are you really getting it off of a $20,000 salary? Who are you kidding? You're kidding nobody but yourself. So it's like, let's pop back to reality. So let's go into your current reality. Okay? You're making the $20,000 a year. Is that going to get you to the Porsche? No. Unless you hit the lottery, or you have, rich aunt and uncle or somebody who says, hey, I'll get it for you, But we're not all that fortunate to have that. So, okay, where I am right now, I could probably get this little car, hang on to this a little while, bring my level of success up to here. And then when I get here, then I'll get this car. And then you keep climbing in your success, and of course success for that particular type of goal is going to mean financial success. Because remember, we all have different ideas of what success is. And then a few years later, you find yourself, just driving by that Porsche dealer and saying, I'm going in there today. I'm ready for this. I even know what color I want. I even know what kind of, features and bells and whistles and all that stuff that I want. And then there you go. But you had to take little steps to get you there. Okay, so we really need to think about what's really going on as opposed to what we prefer. Not saying that you can never get there, because you can't. But it's making sure that you're not resistance to the change that needs to take place. Okay? You're not going to get there by having the 20 grand right there. The car doesn't even, you'll need quite a few more 20 grands to get yourself to that car there. Okay? So being able to make those changes in your life to get you to where you want to go, and that means, those little check-offs there, and making sure that you're, seeing how you're getting closer to your goal and everything. So I talked a little bit about, just a few minutes ago, about how we, kind of have a script in our mind. And why do we repeat certain patterns? Why do we always repeat the patterns that are negative? And when we see ourselves not getting to those goals, help me to understand how that's productive, because it isn't. And you find yourself in that cycle that we looked at earlier, going round and around, spinning, spinning, spinning. And when are you going to decide to step out of that circle and say, I'm not going to be resistant anymore, because that's where I want to be. So we have scripts in our mind, like a playwright. They have a script that they write, and then every night, they have actors and actresses that perform it and everything, but they can alter them. So someone may say, you know what, tonight, maybe if I say this line, a little softer, a little more quiet, it'll have a better effect, on the audience there. And then they try it, and it's like, you know what, that didn't work. Maybe if I say it like this and say it with more enthusiasm, I'll get a better response. And then that works. So, they have to alter their scripts a little bit there, because we want people to tell other people to come to the play. Sometimes we want to see the same face at the play because it was so good. So they understand what it means to kind of alter it a little bit. We have to do the same thing. Okay, we have to be able to have that script that's constantly playing in our mind. What do we need to do to alter that a little bit to get to that preferred reality? Okay, so, we can't be afraid to alter the scripts that keep playing in our mind. But as you're altering, write it down. Remember the sticky notes and notepads all over the place and everything? Write it down, because if it does work, you want to remember it, because you want to continue doing that. And then if it doesn't work, yeah, I'm scribbling that. I'm not doing that one anymore. Forget it. I'm pushing that one aside there. And then you heard me say this numerous times today. You got to visualize it, because what you see is what you become. Okay, I'm going to ground it into your minds today to constantly think that way. Train your brain to think, okay, I see myself being here. That's where I'm going to go. I'm not going to have anything in between stopping me from getting there. And then we have something that's called an alpha mind. I really get into detail a lot more with that. If you were to come into my Total Focus program, we get really in depth with that. And someone with an alpha mind, a lot of successful people have that. It's not a negative thing. A lot of times people think, oh, well, you're an alpha person. You're just so aggressive, and you'll do whatever you need to do to get to where you want to be and everything. It's about having confidence. It's about knowing how to assert yourself at the right time. And it's about being positive. I mean, it's many other things, but those are just a couple of things that I threw out there just to kind of, get the wheels rolling in your mind when you think about an alpha person. It's not something that has to be negative. It really isn't. So I always tell people, when you're putting a goal together for yourself, it's not as simple as people think. It's not as like, all right, I'm going to snap my finger and there's my goal. I got it. There's steps involved with that. But you have to think about doing it right now. If you don't do it right now, you're going to continue to procrastinate. You're going to see yourself, 4 months down the line, still wishing that you got to that goal, or still trying to figure it all out, or still saying to yourself, it's just not the right time. I got so much going on. How many times have you heard people say, oh, I'm so busy. I got so much going on and everything. And then you look at their life and you're like, no, you don't. Stop fooling yourself. Stop lying to yourself. You don't have all that going on. Do you really think Bill Gates doesn't have a lot going on? But he's getting it done, right? Yeah. Because he's planning. He's planning. He's writing down everything that he needs to do to continue to be successful. It doesn't just stop because, yay, he had this great creation and made tons of money. He is continuing that success. It takes a lot of work to consistently remain number one on the, Fortune 500 list. So, because he does it now. Whatever he needs to get done and take care of, he doesn't sit back and procrastinate. He doesn't, sit back and say, oh, God, I just want to, you know what, let's just go out for dinner. I'll get to that another time or whatever. No. He gets it taken care of right now. And that's the kind of frame of mind that we all need to be in. We all need to be thinking like that. So I say it numerous times. Do it now, do it now, do it now. Okay? 4 steps that I think are very important when it comes to accomplishing the goals that you have. And it's planning purposefully. Okay? Why are you doing this? Understand why you're doing it. Don't just throw it out there and not have a clear thought of how it's going to change your life, how important it's going to be in your life. So make sure it has a purpose. And you're not just doing it just for the sake of doing, or doing it just to have people give you kudos or whatever. No, have a purpose with it. And I would say prepare prayerfully. And what I mean by that, I'm not throwing it out there like, oh, you gotta be a great Christian, or no, it has absolutely nothing to do with anyone's religion. Okay, you can have spirituality and not have a specific religion or anything. But as you're doing that, pray upon it. It doesn't matter your denomination or anything like that. Just have that spirituality within yourself to say, okay, this is what I want to accomplish today. And by me accomplishing this, it's going to get me here, or it's going to help this person, or it's going to do something, that has the purpose. Okay? So proceed positively. Remember I talked about before, getting the naysayers out of your life, getting any kind of negativity that's going to prevent you from getting to your goal. Leave it in that past. Leave it there. Don't look back at it. Don't try and reach out for it and say, I just need this one negative thought really quick here. just to make me happy today, No, leave that. Nobody said it was going to be easy to get to these goals or anything. You're going to have struggles. Trust me, you're going to have struggles a few times getting to those goals. But that's okay. Like they say, it's, anything that comes to you that's easy, it's really not going to give you a sense of accomplishment or a sense of purpose. But when you have to scratch and fight and struggle and you finally get to it, you're like, wow, there's nothing that can stop me. I could do anything now. If I had to go through all of that to get to this, please, I can do anything. And then pursue persistently, making sure that you continue to move forward all the time. You cannot sit up here and let those hurdles knock you back or just knock you down completely. Okay, keep going. Be persistent with it. You're going to hear a ton of no's or no you can't or don't do this or whatever. That's okay. They can say what they want. That's their opinion. But you be persistent with it and say, no, I know what I can accomplish. I know what I could do. And, I know all my limits and everything. And right now I feel that I'm limitless. So you just keep going with it. So what does that say?
Do it now.
Exactly. Do it now. Get moving on getting to your goals. Okay? I hate when I hear someone who says, wow, I always wanted to be a singer or, something of that sort there. And I just couldn't do it. There were just so many things that popped up in my life and, when I look back on it, I should have just went ahead and dealt with all those situations to get to where I needed to be. I could have been, the next Beyonce or something. Really? Well, guess what? You wouldn't have known because you didn't start this process here. You didn't start your goal planning of what it's going to take to get you there and how to leave those negative things out of your life and have absolutely nothing stop you from getting you there. So, learned a lot of information, I hope. Did anybody learn anything
Absolutely.
from the session today?
Definitely.
Okay, what's one thing that you can think of out of the session that you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to start doing this right now because it's going to make things a lot better for me.
Just not dwelling in the past so much about what you haven't accomplished previously, but what you can focus on now and what you can bring for your future.
Good. So you're going to do that when?
Now. Excuse me, I have to go.
Right. How about you?
Positive baby steps. Everything is small steps, but always positive to get to the goal.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of knew that before, but I didn't quite realize it until just now. Mm-hmm. That's really what it's all about. Little baby steps, in very positive ways. Good.
So when you think about what you've learned today, and as I said, it's not going to be an easy road. It's going to take some time. Depending upon the goal that you have, it may be a goal that you're going to see come to fruition in a year from now. But how do I get there? I need a little assistance. I need some help. So knowing what you've learned today, who feels that they would gain something by being in a program like this where you have something that's comprehensive and it's taking you step by step with what you need to do? Now, you got to be committed to doing it, but who feels that they can learn something from a program like that?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass around some questionnaires, some comment sheets, because I always like to reevaluate myself to see how I've done and to see if there's anything that I can add to or take away with my presentation, because that's how I grow. I like to gain suggestions from people and to see if there's a way that I can incorporate it, especially if it's something that's coming from like the masses. I want to make sure that I'm putting out that important information, of course, if it's positive. And nothing negative there. So I'm going to pass those around, and then afterwards I'll meet with anyone who's interested in learning more about the program and finding out how to actually sign up for it. And we can go from there. But I want to thank everyone for allowing me to come in during your meeting and to take the time to teach you how to beat procrastination. Okay, so we're going to have a whole different frame of mind coming into work tomorrow and, believing that we can accomplish what we need to accomplish to be successful, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.